Hello, how you doing? So, before we dive into this podcast on GLP-1's, I just want to say that, first of all, I'm late on posting it out because I was running the retreat. Second of all, I've listened to it back quite a few times and I was so fatigued because I was trying to get things done for my holiday and the retreat and being away for pretty much a month from the gym that my brain fog was just ridiculous. So a lot of the words are kind of tongue twisters and I did say a few of the words wrong, just in case anybody picks up on that. I don't think that should affect the podcast, which is why the episode, which I've decided is why I've decided still to put it out, because I think I'll still get the picture across and it's about helping women. But just to be clear, GLP-1's are glucagon-like peptide 1. That's the most important thing in all of this podcast, and I hope you enjoy it and share it with any women or any men that you know who have decided to take this or are thinking about it or are off the back end of it. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I appreciate everything you do to help me reach more people. Hi everybody, welcome to the Lifestyle Coach podcast. This is episode 93, and if you listened to last week's episode, you'll know that today I am going to talk about, for the sake of the podcast not being blocked anywhere, we will call them skinny jabs. Okay. So we can mention GLP-1's, which is what we're going to talk about, right? We're not going to mention any brand names. Okay. So Lexi's here today, obviously. She's calming down a wee bit. She's probably going to be in and out. She'll go and lie down. That is hopefully what she'll do. So we've got loads of notes, right? That's why we're sitting with this. We don't want to say anything that isn't factual or anything that we haven't researched. And I've spent a long time researching this, and I've toyed with not doing this. Like, how many times have I spoke about not doing this and not speaking about this?
Yeah.
But, on you go.
I was just going to say, it's not like you to toy with an idea that you've got or
No, I'm not
research that
just
you've
like
done, or-
straightforward, let's do it.
Yeah, but it is one of those topics.
It's just, it's not that. So I think the thing is, right, nobody's talking about it, nobody's touching this with a barge pole because people are scared to say something wrong, and I guess that's where I was coming from. I'm like, I don't want to put out something that's wrong, right? And I want this to be a very non-judgmental space. So if you have taken it, if you're currently taking it, that's totally fine, but I just want you to tune into this and I want you to learn something. But also I feel like I've got a duty of care to all the women listeners, all the clients, all the people who have taken it, all the people who are thinking about taking it, people's children as well, like the children that are grown up seeing their mums taking it. I feel like I've got a duty of care because, like, my mission is always just to help more women. So it's women that are primarily taking this. So this hopefully will help more women. And the aim with it is really to, like, give you the facts and give you as much information as I possibly can so that you can make an informed decision. You can decide what you want to do if you're on the line, or if you're currently taking it, you can listen to this and see if you can benefit from it anyway. And if you know absolutely nothing about it and you want to listen in, that's great. You want to add to that?
I think just what you said, it's just about informing people of the facts and the research that we've done. It's not about judging anyone that's taking it or, people who don't. It's not about our opinion, it's just getting the facts out there.
Yeah, each to their own, that's what I always say. But what I want to do is I want to educate you so that you, like I said, you can make that informed decision, but so you know what you're going into, so that you know the risks and the adverse side effects, but also maybe benefits that you're going to receive from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about basically what they are, right? So it's actually a drug that mimics a hormone that you've already got. Now this is what blows my mind, right? I don't think people realise that GLP-1 is a hormone that's being produced in your body at this present moment in time.
Yeah. Everybody's
got it. I'm going to get the proper name. Glucagon-like peptide 1. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't think people know that they produce it.
See, if I'm going to put my hands up, and until I started researching it, I didn't realise that we produced it because I didn't know enough about it.
Yeah, you're not science-based though.
Yeah.
Like, I've done a lot of science through my training and my degree in it. You've not done any of that. And I asked Julie to come on to this today just because I thought it worked better if it was a bit more of a conversation instead of me just giving out facts and stuff.
Yeah.
And just to obviously get another opinion.
So basically this hormone in your body manages like your blood sugar levels, right? It manages your appetite, it manages your digestion. That's the three main things that are affected when people decide to take skinny jabs or GLP-1s, right? Like your appetite, your blood sugar levels and your digestion. People are literally no pooing for weeks. Weeks upon weeks, which we'll come on to anyway. So it was FDA approved in actually 2005, and this is another thing, I think people think it's a new drug, and I'm like, no, it's been around for 20 years, but it's used to treat diabetes. And it was only approved, GLP-1s were only approved in 2014 for weight loss because they realised the effects it was having. So basically people who were taking it for diabetes treatment were losing weight on it, and that's when they came out of it, right? But what I want to say is all the other brands that have come out there, they're technically copies of the original.
Yeah.
Did you read much about that?
I skimmed on it just to see what other brands were out there and when they came into place. And
so these other companies have basically jumped on the bandwagon to make money,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to emphasise here, right? So there is a place for this drug to help people with diabetes and possibly people with weight loss. There is a place for it, and it's here to stay. But these other companies that jump on the bandwagon just to make money really frighten my brain.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who are damaging people's lives, people's health, mental health, physical health, well-being, whatever, absolutely damaging them. So let's go back to the hormone that's naturally produced in your body. It slows down how fast your stomach empties, right? So that's what I was talking about when I said like people are not pooing for weeks, because it slows that process down, it slows down the digestion, it reduces your appetite as well, which affects, basically it cuts off the brain's signals, hunger signals. It cuts off the brain's hunger signals basically, right? That's what it does. So then if you're not eating and then your digestion's already slowed down, you'll not go to the toilet.
No.
There's nothing toxic coming out your body. But what it does do as well is it stimulates insulin to help release blood sugar, help lower blood sugar levels after you've eaten. That's the main thing that happens with a diabetic, right? They need to stabilise their blood sugar levels. So that's one that's totally factual. It's all factual, but what I mean is that's one that it was actually put out for.
Yeah.
The other things, with slowing down your digestion, how fast your stomach empties, and like reducing the appetite, simply a side effect of it. It was never intended for that.
Yeah. I'm just reading.
No, that's alright. I'm just giving you
'cause I'm
space
like,
so that you can chat if you want to say it.
if I find anything that I've got that's more than what you've
Yeah,
got to add it in.
And then the fourth thing that it does is suppresses glucagon, which reduces blood sugar spikes. So blood sugar spikes happen for an array of reasons, but the main way I want to talk about it is if we consumed a chocolate bar, you're going to get a sugar spike after that and then you have a crash. The reason I'm explaining it that way is that's because that's the way most people know it. And I think it's just important to acknowledge what a blood sugar level spike is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to add for that?
No, I was just, because I obviously looked up how you work for diabetics and just what you've said, like by increasing the levels of kind of gut hormone, as they called it, to help the body
That's what it is,
produce
essentially
more,
gut hormone.
to help your body produce more insulin when needed, and then lowering your sugar levels and preventing excessive spikes. That was my kind of definition of it. But
it's covered, but that's a good point that Julie's mentioned there, the gut health, because the gut health is huge in this. So see if you're not really eating anything in that, your gut health is going to be through the floor. But see, think about your gut health as being like a second brain. It connects to like your mental health. So if your gut health is through the floor, so is your mental health, basically.
yeah.
So yeah, just to recap on where we're at, I think it's a good drug for diabetes, but loads of companies have jumped on the bandwagon because they realise the side effects of it and they just want to make money.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are they trending?
Everybody, I think, my personal opinion, be asking, I think they're trending because everyone wants that quick fix weight loss. That, as simple as that. Nobody wants, I'm not saying nobody, some people do, or a lot of people perhaps say they don't have the time to exercise or the time and effort to put into managing their diet or
You
doing
don't have
all
to.
these things. They just want, they want to be thinner.
It's easy.
And by injecting themselves and suppressing their appetite. It's an easy fix.
It's an easy fix, but do you want to tell, since you've started with that, do you want to tell them how much weight you lost, how we did it, and how long it took?
Yeah, so I joined here, and within the first 6 months,
Mhm.
I'd say I'd lost, what, 2.5 stone?
2.5 stone within 6 months. Absolutely natural by actually what?
Tripling my calories.
Increasing our food.
And moving more.
So it's not,
basically.
you don't always lose weight by reducing, obviously in this case
Yeah.
it's suppressing your appetite, so you do, but
What happens when you start eating again?
well, we'll come on to that. So from my perspective, I totally think they're trending because of social media. So you've got all these influencers out there that have got billions and billions of followers, right, promoting it, and then all these young girls are watching it, right? So it's trending, that's one way. It's also trending because of the rapid weight loss, which you've said.
Yeah.
And I think, so I've currently got 2 clients that have previously used it, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I did ask them if they wanted to come on today, but they're at work and we're recording it during the day, which is fine. So I asked them a heap of questions that I'm going to share with you at a later date. But the big thing about this is that what's happening is Julie starts it, I see her results, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then Lexi sees my results and she's wanting to do it, but she's my weighing. So, do you know what I mean? Like, how would you feel if Hannah started doing it? Hannah sees you doing it.
I know, so this
Lexi
was
said.
my thought as well when I was reading into this, and I was like, I'm going to use me training for the triathlon as an example. What, my kids seen me training for a triathlon, and now one of them said to me, Andy's wee friend, we want to do that triathlon next year, can we train with you? Because they're watching what you're doing and they're taking everything in, so they're obviously going to be like, oh well, my mum's doing that, my dad's, my auntie, my granny is doing that, that must be alright, that must be good for me, that must be fine. So again, if they're watching you injecting yourself
What examples that's
to
in?
lose weight, they're going to think, oh well, that's fine, I can do that.
Mhm.
And I don't, my opinion is if people want to do it, they can do it, if not, but they're seeing what you're doing, they're watching every...
We kids watch your every move, and it's like, do you want to be a role model, or do you want them to grow up with the same habits that you've currently got? And here's the thing as well, as brutal as that sounds, see when I was growing up, see when I was wee, I always joked, don't I, I've exercised since I came out the
I
womb.
was about to say.
And I've exercised since I came out the womb, right? So like, I grew up with my mum who was always exercising. Back in the day it wasn't weights, right? So she would swim, walk, cycle, it's all cardio, right? But I grew up with that, so I've always done exercise. My dad was always active, always walking about, always out working, so my family's been an active family, and that's what I grew up seeing, right? But you've got people who grew up in the whole diet culture, the chic culture, or try to be super skinny.
Yeah.
And now, for a period of time there, we were in a culture where women, and I mean it still happens in our community, our Warrior Chick Club, where women are trying to get strong, they're trying to empower their kids, and they're flinging weights about and being badass women. But then these jabs have come in, and now these wee kids that are maybe around 10 under, I don't know, up to teenagers, are then going to grow up, so in another 10, 20 years time they'll be like, I grew up with my dad doing that. Or maybe my dad as well. Maybe the dads are doing it as well.
That's an example as well, I know, because I grew up in that fad diet, slimming club culture of my aunties, my gran, my mum, whatever, doing all these fad diets to lose weight. And what did I do when I left school and I wanted to
What
lose
did you
weight?
do?
I joined one of these clubs first. But I also went to the gym, and I went to the gym every day at lunchtime, but I also joined one of these clubs because I thought,
That was the way to do
well,
it.
that's the way to do it. And was told that I can eat as much veg.
Well,
as I
you
want.
can eat
It's
as much
free.
veg as you want.
It's free.
But it's not free.
It's not free.
It's like if you eat a banana, it's going to
it's
calories,
about
but
what
if you
you-
mash it, it does.
But taking it back, it's about what you grow up seeing. You end up
Becoming.
trying,
Mhm.
becoming,
Yeah.
unless you change your ways.
And you've really had to change your ways.
Yeah, I've changed, yeah.
And now you're setting a good example for your kids. So how would you feel if it was Hannah came in the door and she wanted to take it?
Obviously she's old enough to make her own decision. I guess I'd give her the information. But she's the type of person that's probably done more research than us into this.
I
before
should
she
know
started
more about
taking
us,
it.
to be fair. That's probably not a good example.
Yeah, but it really depends on how I guess how overweight she was, if she was struggling to lose weight the natural way, if she was, I don't know.
We can
it's a
come
tough
back to
one,
that.
Yeah, it's
We'll
a
come
tough
back to
one
it.
for me.
I knew we were going to do this anyway. I knew we were going to totally
I wasn't opposed to it.
go away from
because she's her own person. But
the current things we're talking about. This is going to be a long episode, guys, as well, so strap yourselves in. So the thing that I want to speak about is, moving on for the kind of why it's trending, is weight loss vs fat loss, right? So hear me out. I speak about this a lot in my community and I put posts out on it, but in case you don't follow me, weight loss is absolutely anything that comes off of your body. So what I mean is, you step on the scales, you're 10 stone, right? You step on it tomorrow. So let me start that again. You step on the scales today, you're 10 stone. You have pasta for your lunch, you have pasta for your dinner and garlic bread. Step on the scales tomorrow and you're £10 because you had a lot of carbohydrates today. Now, that's not me saying that carbohydrates are bad for you, because we need carbohydrates. What I'm saying is, they make your body retain water. So that's water weight, right? That's not fat. And then the next day, you've not had any pasta, you've just eaten like healthy balanced meals with potatoes and rice and things, right? You step on, you're down to 9 stone 12. So actually, you've dropped the water weight and you've dropped 2 pounds, right? So you're 9 stone, what did I say there? 12, 8. And then you go and get your hair chopped off and all of a sudden you're 9 stone. Because
I'll need to get more.
it's just anything. So weight loss is absolutely anything, right? Fat loss is solely fat. So it takes much longer to lose fat, which is healthier, and to change your body composition because you're protecting the muscle mass. Whereas when you go into weight loss, which these jabs do, you're losing a lot of muscle mass at the same time, right? So research has currently shown that around 40% of the weight loss will come from your muscle mass. Can you believe it's as high as that? 40%, that's almost half of your muscle mass.
I know. And how's that protecting you?
It's not protecting you. This is what we're like going to go on and speak about. This is a bit that I'm so passionate about.
I know.
Because, so muscles an organ, right? It is the key to longevity in life. So if you want to be independent as you age, if you want to have good mobility, good balance and good strength to go out and carry your shong or run about with your grandkids or pick up your dog's poo, like, you need muscle, right? Now, when we're in midlife, hate to say it, mate, but we're in midlife. I think I'm accepting it. I think I'm accepting it now. I was like, oh, midlife, man, that's weird. Anyway, when you're in midlife, so let's say 35 and above, right? Your metabolism's slowing down. Muscle mass is depleting already. Bone density can be reducing. Why go and add a drug into that that's going to like accelerate that process?
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say something, right?
That's okay. So
I was actually about to say, like, a lot of people are going, they want to be skinny. I'll use the term skinny, right? They want to be skinny, yeah. But do they think by being skinny that's going to give them, I'll use another word that we don't really, toned, as people say, or lean look? But by losing their muscle mass, that...
No, see the thing is,
they're not going to get that lean look.
So what happens is these people, they're not, because of 40% of their muscles gone when they've lost that weight, right? And like, what happens when you lose weight that fast is that it eats your muscle, it depletes your muscle, right? So people want, as Julie said, this tone look. Now, in order to get that tone look, you need to have muscle mass. Now, we, even without taking these skinny jabs, we could lose, right? And we don't have any muscle under there, so we're not going to look at that. You're just going to be skinny fat, maybe even.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take this, you're amplifying that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people I see on it are quite gaunt looking because they don't have any muscle mass. They look quite frail, and I think that's important to note. Like, look at the older people who's around you in the street. Do you want to be frail or do you want to be kind of still strong and independent? I know that when I turn 80, which is I'm halfway to that point already, I want to be able to walk up a hill. I still want to be able to go to yoga. I don't want to be frail and not be able to wipe my ass.
Yeah. And do you think that having a good amount of muscle mass will protect you from like falls and stuff as well as you age?
It will certainly reduce the risk of it. I can't say that it would definitely prevent you falling and breaking things, but it definitely would reduce the risk of it because obviously it leads on to osteoporosis, which I'll speak about. So I'm going to come, all of this kind of intertwined, right? But losing muscle mass actually slows down your metabolism, right? So muscle mass is highly metabolic, which means that when you're resting, you're going to burn a lot of calories. So as we sit here doing nothing, we're burning calories at rest because we have muscle mass. The less muscle mass you have, the slower your metabolism is, so the less calories at rest you burn. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So having muscle as well maintains a healthy weight, and it also helps you have a better quality of life. So that's the same as a metabolism. If you've got a good metabolism, it's going to help you have a better quality of life. I'm actually reading this just to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
The slower your metabolism is, it's not just to do with the calories you burn at rest and how healthy you are, but you're putting yourself at actually higher risk of being obese and other diseases such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes. I mean, how controversial is that? So you might take skinny jab to lose the weight, but actually it slows down your metabolism
And gives you all these other health issues, potentially.
and could potentially make you obese and give you type 2 diabetes when you've actually taken a medication that's used to prevent all that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So controversial.
I know.
So what we want to do is actually aim to protect the muscle mass at all costs throughout your life. Like, and remember, at the very end of this, I'm going to give you tips if you do decide to do this. Remember, we're just informing you. That's all I want to do here. So strong muscles are the key for mobility, disease prevention, balance, independence. And also your let's chat about the bone health. That's a massive one. So I actually listened to a podcast recently that was speaking about, it was like an actor or an actress or something like that, stage performer abroad. Did I speak to you about this?
No.
So she basically, 24 years old she is, and she was told by her company that she wasn't the right look, so she had to go on skinny jabs. Don't know what one it was. She was on it for a year, she was on stage, fell and broke a bone. Now, when she, 24 years old, went to get a scan, they actually scanned her and looked at all her bones, and her bones were pretty much non-existent. Some of them were like so brittle they were about to snap. 24 years old, and let me tell you this, your bones don't regrow. You can slow down, like your bone density depleting, and you can work on making it stronger, but your bones don't regrow. 24 years old, she's going to have that for the rest of her life. Bones so brittle that she can no longer work because she's taking it. That's mad. That was one of the biggest things I came across, and I was like, wow, that's insane to me.
That's also about maybe being misinformed or not looking into it before you take it.
No, I think from her case it's just been like she needs to make money, that's what she does, get on it, lose weight.
Oh.
Insane. So the stronger your bone is, the less chance you have of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is the brittle bones that we've just discussed. So when you're older and maybe you see people around you, or you have seen your grannies, your grandpas, whoever, they fall and they fracture something really easy, most likely have osteoporosis, right? Now, if we add the skinny jabs into the mix, it's going to accelerate that, like I spoke about. So you could get that earlier in life. You could get that at 24 years old.
Yeah.
That's basically what's wrong with her, 24 years old. You can get that in your spine, so your spine would start breaking down as well. It's all your bones. That's just, that terrifies me. Like, I think from the perspective of last year when I broke my ankle, I fractured it and then I tore ligaments, and I still have problems with it a year later, and all I did was go over on it. And that's me, who I would say, I strength train, I have good bone density.
Yeah, my gran's got osteoporosis. And
Has she?
Whenever it just takes one wee fall, we used to always laugh because she'd go on holiday and she'd fall.
Right.
And she'd have to come back and play with a stookie on. But now she's got metal plates and all that in her.
Metal plates,
Metal
just to obviously kind of protect
her bones.
hold her together, basically.
Yeah, so then when she was going on holiday, she can't now, she's older, but she'd have to tell them, she'd have to have a note from the doctor, because going through security it would beep. But all because, I guess she did all these fad
diets and didn't resistance train and all
yeah.
that. And then just kind of final touching points is, like, I'm big on like your mental health being in a good place, right? So if, let's say, my client had a weight loss goal and her mental health was through the floor trying to reach this goal, I would actually address the mental health issue and tell her to put that goal aside, right? And I think it's really important to note that, because when I give the two client examples, not examples, they're real life, but when I give you the information from those two clients that gave me this, that was the thing that really happened for them. They had no energy and their mental health was really, really poor, but they still continued it, because I think the word here is, and I hate to say this, people are desperate.
Yeah, you get to that.
It's like they've tried everything. It's like, right, I'm just going to try that. Not everyone. There's other people taking it for the wrong reasons. Sarcopenia. Do you know much about that? Muscle loss.
Increased risks as you get older.
Yep.
And this will
Accelerate
also
it.
accelerate
Mhm.
that.
So I think that my dad has sarcopenia. That's just me making a diagnosis, right? But he doesn't enjoy weight training. He has always walked and always been active, but he's a very, very thin. He has no muscle mass to him whatsoever, right? And it's quite scary because I'm like, he's not even 60. So in another 10 years' time, he's probably going to be really frail and not be able to do it because he doesn't have the strength. And it's mad as well because he can bang himself like on a door handle, something that's not that bad, like off the corner of this, and it'll be pure bruise because it's just all bone that's there. So he's the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's quite daunting that that's going to be his future and it's going to get worse. And I think if you could prevent that now, definitely be preventing that. Anything you want to add about the muscle mass, metabolism, bone health?
Not based on this, but I wish I'd known all of this information years ago to start preventing it early. And I'm glad that I can now teach that to my kids early on.
I think the thing is as well,
important. I don't care about being skinny anymore.
Skinny's not nice either.
I'm fine with my big strong legs.
Our legs are strong, but that's another thing as well. It's like, do people think that skinny is healthy? Because it's most of the time not.
Yeah.
It's really not, guys. Okay, so I'm just deciding what order I want to tell you this in.
I'm looking forward to hearing these
So,
stories.
Here's some things that I think you need to know about it, right? So one of the things that it does, and you can link this back into the hormone producing naturally itself as well, when I spoke about it slowing down, like how fast your stomach empties and your appetite and stuff. It literally switches off folks' hunger signals. Like, people are not hungry, they are not eating.
Yeah.
So one person I spoke to took her jab on a Saturday, right? And it was only the Friday before she got hungry, right? That's almost a week. So she had to take her jab on a Saturday, maybe the Friday before she felt hungry. And the thing with that is, see, when she was getting hungry on a Friday, she was, I'm not laughing at this, but she was reaching for chocolate and eating crisps and going for a takeaway because
it's that energy fix, that
fast energy instead of like having good meals. Because but she said actually it's because she had no energy to actually cook food.
Yeah, because she's not been eating for a week.
One day out of 7 basically she was eating,
She's
and
not
that was
giving
it.
her body what it needs
No.
to function on a daily basis.
So that leads me into what's then happening is there's a lot of emotional eating, and there's a overeating, undereating. So some people like to call it the binge restrict cycle. I don't love that term, but overeating and then undereating cycle that happens. So you're not eating because your signals are switched off, and then all of a sudden you're hungry and you're just reaching for whatever, so then you're overeating for a day.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple of days before the next injection is due. As midlife women, our hormones most likely are all over the shop, whether or not, like me and Julie, you have endometriosis, maybe you have PCOS, maybe you're perimenopausal, maybe you're menopausal. Like, hormones are all over the place, right? Adding this into the mix is going to make that worse. Did you find it on hormones?
Not much that I would share because it's not been approved, or it's not.
It sends the hormones even more haywire. So like, I think as well, when my hormones are bad and I can tell like when, like if I'm having a flare up, how my hormones are, because I either end up quite emotional or really crab it.
You're a crab.
Me crab it? No, never. And then obviously I think we've really emphasised the muscle loss. I don't think I need to speak any more about the muscle loss.
That's
I think
what I go on about in life.
And muscle loss.
You can protect us.
I've also spoken about the bone density. The biggest thing that came out of any of the research I've done was the fatigue. Now, I suffer chronic fatigue. You do as well. Most endometriosis sufferers do. Most people with chronic health conditions have fatigue.
I can't imagine adding that into the mix.
I wouldn't be awake. And also, client 1, I'm not going to use Andy's name today, but client 1 said that she would be up for an hour and she'd be struggling to stay awake. So imagine adding that into her chronic fatigue.
I know.
The nausea, the headaches, the vomiting, long-term, like, conditions, there's other things coming into play here where people are having to get their gallbladders taken out, they're getting pancreatitis, I can't say that word. Pancreatitis, do you not see the first T?
Pancreatitis, I'll say no.
Okay. But the biggest thing out of all this, I would say, is like people are far too tired to do any activity. Now, it's all about behaviour change. And a lot of research has shown that if you work alongside a behaviour specialist coach, we are that here, then you will like get good results from it, and a lot of this won't happen. But if you're doing this blindly and you're ordering it online and you don't know what the fuck you're ordering, then that's where the health issues are going to arise.
That scares me. Like, what's in it? How do you know you're getting that? Like,
You don't know.
That's what absolutely terrifies me.
Also, the other thing that's happening is people order it online right now. I told you about this, didn't I? I actually tried to order it myself. Did I tell you? And all I did was went onto our website, asked me my height, my age, basic questions, my weight, right? Wouldn't accept me with my current weight, so I put an extra 5 kilos onto that. Ping, there you go, approved. Now, that could be a 12-year-old girl or a boy.
But people actually sell them, you can actually just buy them, like off a random person.
Off a drug dealer? Or just somebody like your next door neighbour or whatever?
Just a random, just somebody down the road,
aye.
You can actually buy them.
I'm sure people in my street are selling them as well.
To go on.
I've got a couple of friends that are delivery drivers and like that's the things that people are
Do
buying.
they bulk buy them and then sell them?
Then sell them. But again, that's even worse, isn't it?
Okay, then you really don't know what you're getting.
No. So the thing that I kind of want to speak about as well before I come on to what the clients were saying was like, would you, just a bit of food for thought, do you want to build a healthy, strong body that's mentally resilient, you've got good gut health, or do you want a quick fix? You're going to lose your muscle mass, you're going to be able to hardly do anything, and you might have all those side effects further down the line. Bearing in mind, some people might not have side effects now, but in 20 years time, do you know what I mean?
I would ask myself probably before taking it, why do I want to take it? Like, why do I want to lose weight? If it's to run about with my kids, then I don't.
That's the
I
wrong way to
wouldn't
do
want
it.
to be taking it because I'd be too tired to do that. That's just a pop.
And what happens if you run about? What happens if in the future you run about with the kids and you trip and you break your wrist?
You break a bone. That's you. You need to rely on somebody to help you with the kids. That's also a fear of mine.
Yeah,
Hurting myself and
it
relying on other people.
It is. Okay, let's dive into. I do want to speak about resistance and weight training and protein, but we'll come on to that in a wee bit, right? So, client 1 basically first heard about it in work for a few months. Our colleagues were talking about it. She was currently pregnant when people were taking it in her work initially. Then she had a baby and wanted to lose weight for her brother's wedding, so jumped on the bandwagon, ordered it online, got approved it after a couple of days. She had no coach to support her. She didn't try and change any of her behaviours, she just wanted the quick fix, right? The first thing she noticed was that she basically did not have an appetite. She didn't think about food, she didn't want food, and she was constantly dizzy and feeling sick with no energy. So like I said, she was the one that would get up and she'd be up an hour and she was struggling to stay awake the rest of the day. She had a temper around her family, she had no libido, so she had absolutely no sex drive whatsoever, nothing. Bearing in mind she's taken that with like our baby, I think she waited till he was like 3-6 months old.
I was going to say, how did she?
She waited till he was sleeping through the night, but I still think like,
But how did she deal with him when she was tired?
just, I guess, had to get on with it. Don't have any other option. So here's the thing, right? She did lose 2 stone on it, right? And then the third time she tried to run it. So when she was ordering it, when you order it, they then offer you a higher dose each time, right? And it's when people are taking the higher doses that these other side effects are coming in, like the gallbladder, increased stress. Basically, the more you're taking, the higher the risk is, right? But after the third time, she actually plateaued and she wasn't losing anymore. She didn't like the way she was feeling. She hated feeling sick, almost. I think feeling sick, being nauseous is worse than being sick.
Yeah.
She was fed up the dizzy turns and the price was just too much. So she decided to stop taking it, and as soon as her appetite returned, the weight returned as quickly.
Did you put more weight on?
Not as far as I know, no. But that's what's going to happen to people, and I don't think they realise. It's like, if you've not changed any behaviours, if you've not improved your habits, your routines, your structure in your life, it's just another quick fix that's going to rebound. Except with this, it's not like a slimming, I'll not have stopped myself there, or some sort of food quick fix. It's actually drugs. This is drugs you're putting into your body.
Yeah.
It's severe. Do you think people would do if you're starting to inject yourself with cocaine?
I know.
I mean, people, the heroin? Like, do you know what I mean? What?
I was going to say, if somebody said to me cocaine will help your endo symptoms, at some points throughout the month I'd be that desperate, I'd be like, get a shot. So I get the whole people being desperate to change things. And
I do understand that.
In reality I wouldn't inject myself.
I know what you mean, though, like with endometriosis, that brutal sometimes that you think if somebody could offer me a magic pill to take this away, you would take it.
Yeah.
You would. So I get it, I understand.
But
like,
you would need to keep taking the magic pill, wouldn't you? So.
But what you need to do alongside that, yeah, keep taking it, change your behaviours.
You still need to manage.
The
like
symptoms.
You still need to manage.
So that's basically it. Any questions on client 1 that I can answer?
No, I'm just like flabbergasted that when you're, obviously as a parent you do get on to with your kids, but how is she having that fatigue as bad as that? How she dealt with a newborn? And I'm assuming she wasn't breastfeeding, so she would have definitely not.
No, she wouldn't have been able to, no. Okay, client 2, some of the stuff's the same but different. So she actually had a healthy BMI, and her friends were doing it and she just wanted to drop a bit of weight for a holiday. So she did it for 7 weeks and increased the dose every time. So every time she was due an order, she increased the dose. So it started at 2.5 and she went up to 5. And it's when she went up to 5 that the side effects became so severe that she had like severe stomach pains. She actually passed out and ended up in hospital. Now when she ended up in hospital, she'd lost like 2 stone, but she already had a healthy BMI. So what happened was, losing that 2 stone and everything that had happened to her, she actually ended up severely underweight into the unhealthy BMI end. She ended up at the other end. So people are not looking at that. Yeah, she just obviously didn't take any after that, but again she was ordering it online as well. Now it's interesting because both of these people have came to me for help. They recognise that actually I tried it, I didn't like it, that's not the way to go, I still need to be changing my behaviours.
Yeah, but I've spent all this money doing that.
And that's the other thing that I've had, like was speaking to a few girls a few weeks ago and they want to come on board but they're paying for that and they can't afford to pay for that and pay for me, and I actually offered to still come to some sort of agreement so I could help them because they don't have a coach, and I'm like, people need to be helped.
I know.
It's like a duty, I feel like I've got a duty of care.
I think it almost becomes addictive.
I guess it's probably the same as, I think when folk get like aesthetics work done, it's addictive, so is it the same as that?
And oh, you're looking great, you're looking amazing, I'll take more, or do you think it?
Okay.
I don't know, just maybe.
So we're going to just move on, and it's actually not been as long as I thought it was going to be. I was like, we're going to talk about this forever, but I'm just trying to keep it kind of, let's just chat about the topic at hand. So I just want to start discussing like our coaching perspective right now. At the start I said this is a non-judgmental space, it's a safe space for anybody to come to if they want to come and talk to us, whether you've taken it, you've come off it, you want to take it, come and reach out and we'll happily have a chat with you, alright? Here's what I believe that these, before I go any further, just want to state that I have actually been working with people. I've worked with thousands of women over the last 20 years, thousands of women. I'm not just somebody who's just talking to you as if like I'm just new in what I'm doing. I'm very experienced in what I do. But what I want to say is, the biggest thing is that I do believe that these drugs are here to stay. And I also believe that there is a place for them if they are used properly in conjunction with a GP and a coach, a behaviour changing coach like us. Now, who do I think, let Lexi's come in, who do I think that they are for? I believe that they should be used for obviously diabetes, but people who are clinically obese and can't get out of bed. You know those people that need cranes to move them? The people that need to be turned over, the people that have got bed sores, who physically cannot get out of bed. I believe that they're useful for those types of people to get them to drop weight so that they can start moving again. What do you have to say about that?
I feel like this is like my whole body, yeah.
Just saying like about my opinion on it, what is your opinion? So who do you believe that they're for?
I think my opinion is that they're for medically or clinically obese to help them be able to move. I don't think you should just order them online. I think you should be taking them under medical supervision of some sort.
Agreed.
Because you don't know what other medications you're taking that they're going to
Interact
with and could cause you more damage.
Sorry, they do actually counteract, so I just want to state this. See if you are on the contraceptive birth control pill,
Oh yeah, I
they
read
counteract that.
Yeah, because if you're...
So if you are taking these and you don't want to get pregnant, you maybe want to wrap it up as well. Got such a nice way of saying things, Santa.
I know.
Now, here's who I think that these are not for. They're not for people who have a holiday in 4 weeks and maybe just want to lose a stone or two, guys. Like, people like us, they're not for us. Yeah. We are moving, we're healthy, we're fit. If they are used wrong and in the wrong types of people, so if you've got a holiday in a couple of months and you just want to lose a bit of weight, it's not the best way to go. And I want you to think about it from this perspective, right? Let's say you've got a stone to lose, that's £14, right? If you wanted to do that slow so that you can still enjoy a social life, you can still have alcoholic drinks, I could help you lose that in 12 to 14 weeks while you still socialise and have drinks and whatever else you want to do, go out for dinner, right? If you wanted to be slightly more restrictive and you were happy not to go out for drinks, you could lose that in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
£2 a week, still healthy.
Yeah, it's a healthy weight loss.
And it's like, yes, if you take skinny jabs, you might lose that in 2 weeks, but look at the consequences of doing that. And the other thing is as well, it's like, see if you're somebody who is smashing the gym, you're doing your strength training, your weight training, you're building good muscle mass, and you've still got a bit of timber to shift, and you want to continue building muscle, that is the wrong way to go as well, because you're going to lose 40% of your muscle mass.
Yeah. And
Right.
your body's not going to have the energy to do what it needs to do.
Nah,
so-
I literally know people who have drove up to the gym, went for a sleep in their car and had to drive home because they've not had energy to go into the gym.
Yeah. Another random thought that's in my head about the taking it to go on holiday. What happens if you're taking it to go on a holiday? Then you end up in hospital on holiday because you've been taking that.
So I
Your
listened,
holiday's ruined.
I know, I listened to a podcast that was like, so do you still take it when you go on holiday or do you stop? Because if you stop,
I'm assuming you can take it in your luggage.
good question actually, I don't know.
Because if it's prescribed, you'd be able to
Yeah.
take it.
If it was prescribed properly.
Yeah.
Other people that I believe this is not for are folk who are doing endurance training. Now recently, like, I've become aware of runners who kind of went into this way of thinking, and a lot of runners think they need to be as thin as possible to run, and they need to be lighter to run, right? Those are the people who are most likely going to trip and break something because they're so fragile, they're low in energy, they're still going out and doing really, really long endurance runs, running marathons, and they've been taking these drugs, like, not feeling properly. Like, that blows my mind. How
Can
could
you
you
do that?
I just don't get it. But I know somebody that's run a marathon and she was taking them. Blows my mind.
Speechless that how you could sustain that and do that distance.
She must have still been force feeding herself some food or something. Here's what else I think needs to happen with them, right? So see if you are somebody who wants to take them, just know that it's absolutely A-okay. We've given you all the facts, all the information that we know. But what I think you really need to do is you need to do it the right way, right? So you need to look at changing your behaviours, your routines, your stress management, look at your sleep, look at your nutrition, your hydration, right? I'll come on to that. But so behaviour change, it needs to be all about behaviour change. So if you're not changing your behaviours while taking this drug, then that's where I would recommend you start looking at. Now, the other thing I would highly recommend is that you create an exit strategy. So what is your plan when you stop taking these?
Yeah, what are you going to do going forward?
Because everybody I knows that I've spoke to who's done it, have done it, lost the weight, come off, gained it back, because they've not changed any behaviours. I think there needs to be an exit strategy.
Yeah, or you need to be managing your diet or doing something while you're on it to keep, build those habits, stack those habits.
Stack the habits, as we would say,
as you move.
What I would also suggest is if you've watched all of this, you've listened to it and you want to go ahead, is that you actually do it with a really low dose and you stay on it for longer. There's less adverse effects if it's done in a low dose, as in like 2.5, and you do it over a longer period of time. Yes, it's going to take you longer to lose that, but there's less chance of having to get a gallbladder removed, having pancreatitis, still can't say it right, kidney problems, liver problems. There's less chance of that if you do it at a lower dose and run it for a longer period of time. I would like you to be aiming for 1.6 to 2.2 kilograms of protein per kilogram of body weight. You can work that out. Fibre is the one that we need to consume for gut health, right? Now remember earlier I'm like, you want to protect your gut health, so fibre, get it in your veggies, your fruits and stuff like that. And we're aiming for about 25 grams a day. Most of my clients naturally consume that in a day, so I don't go into it in a lot of detail, but in order to keep your gut health good, which in turn will keep your mental health good, is we'd be looking at 25 grams of fibre a day, so eating your fruit and your veggies as well. Lifting twice a week, minimum. If it's full body sessions, twice a week, absolute minimum, lifting weights. Hydrating. And what I suggest this to all of my clients who say, oh, but I'm not hungry and I'm not thirsty, or I forget to eat, or I forget to drink. And it's the same if you're going to go on this, right, and you've cut off your hunger signals to your brain, right, and your stomach, and you don't know when you're hungry. Set an alarm on your phone. Set an alarm on your phone every 3 hours to eat something. Set an alarm on your phone every hour to drink something. And whether you feel like it or not, just consume something. Fruit and veg, protein. Yeah, if you're really struggling, I'd be aiming for just those itself, you know. Like, if you're constantly reaching for like chocolate and crisps and all of that, that's only going to like escalate, is that the right word? Like escalate the behaviour, so when you come off it, you're probably going to want more of them because the sugar cravings are going round in a circle. Do you want to add it into that?
That's a vicious cycle, isn't it? And that's how, I mean, you got me eating more because I had to set my alarm. And
eventually your body,
you do get used to it.
Yeah, so eventually your body, eventually your body like will respond to that. Like, so sometimes I get folk coming on board and it's like they're not hungry all day, and I'm like, that's because you're used to not eating. So when you set an alarm every 3 or 4 hours, your body becomes naturally used to that. So my body expects food every 3 hours. I get to 3 hours and I'm like, wow, it's food time.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've said a million times to this is get a bloody good coach. Like, I'm being serious, it doesn't need to be me, but get yourself a good coach that is experienced in working with different health conditions and different women, and don't just go and get yourself a new trainer on your gym floor because they're cheap. Spend the money, it's your health, it's an investment.
Yeah, get someone who knows you, who you kind of gel with, and who, when you're telling them what you want, can give you loads of advice back. And
you need to be, it needs to be like an open, you need to be receptive, you need to be open to coaching, so somebody that you can build a good relationship with.
They can't help you if you don't open up. And
the other thing is, like, have yourself a good community of people around you, whether that's your gym training buddies like the Warrior Chick Club or it's your pals. Like, don't be surrounded by negative Nellies, like, or do they call it negative Nancy's, whatever, but anyway.
I'd say Nelly.
Be surrounded by people that you can be open and you can talk about it with, and please, if you do decide to do this from ordering it online and nobody knows about it, just tell people, even your closest people, your partner, your best pal or something, because people are keeling over out in the street and keeling over in gyms and stuff like that, and nobody knows what's wrong with them. If that happened in here and somebody keeled over and we didn't know about it, we wouldn't know how to respond to that, right? Now, if we did know that somebody was taking the GLP-1 and they keeled over due to no eating it and lack of hydration, dehydration basically, and they've got no energy and they've keeled over, I know that I need to phone an ambulance, and I know that I need to tell the paramedics they're taking GLP-1s.
Put it in your medical info on your phone as well, because if you collapse in the street,
That's a
I
good
always put all
idea.
my medication in that.
That's a very good
whatever
idea.
I'm taking, so that if somebody finds your phone, they know.
And I guess as well, like, for me, I'm thinking, right, these skinny jabs are easy, right? If you're a busy mum or you struggle with time, like, yes, it's easy, but is it worth it?
Yeah.
Julie, 4 years ago, before you lost all your weight, would she have taken it?
I don't think I would have,
No.
because I'd have been too scared of what was in it.
Okay.
I know I wouldn't have. No, definitely would not have, because I'd have panicked about what am I taking here. If I'm buying this online, what's in it?
I know, and see,
I don't like taking medication as
No.
it is. I hate that I have to
I'm
take
the
some stuff for my endo, but that's just how I manage it. But no, I wouldn't inject myself with something that I didn't need.
and do you know the thing is, there was a point when I was like, so if you're new to this, you probably won't know this, but or if you've been listening, you'll know for a while, like, I was on a lot of medication for a good 3 years there, and I gained a lot of weight during that time, and I'm somebody who, I train or I do something every single day, I eat relatively well, and I did gain a lot of weight. Now it's starting to come off because I'm coming off of medications, right? But here's the thing, it's really, really difficult to lose weight or fat when you have endometriosis or other conditions, and I get it. See, last year I felt so uncomfortable, didn't fit in any of my clothes. There was a point when I thought, could I take that alongside this? Not as in like, would I do it, but is it worthwhile? Because I was told to stay on the medication. I started coming off medication on my own accord, obviously told my GP, but they didn't want me coming off all of this, but I was just like really unhappy with the way I was, and I was like, I need to change something. So I get how people can be desperate.
Yeah, I get that desperate side of it, but I'd rather
There's
know
other
what I was
ways.
taking.
There's other ways, and please know that we are here. So just to recap, it's not a magic pill, right, guys? I want to really emphasise this. It's a drug. It is a drug that comes, like, doesn't come without risk. So there's so many risks to it. Unique behaviour change. It's created for diabetes. The other thing I want to say is, we weren't born to inject ourselves. That's not normal.
Our bodies have their own functions of doing.
You've got this hormone. It's going to.
dispensing and
Our body can do all of that itself.
yeah.
And you go.
Sorry, I was just because when I was doing this research, and I was thinking, do you think these kind of skinny pills, as we put it, are going to put an end to obesity if used correctly?
So
or is that going to increase the amount of people that are going in with like issues related to loss of muscle mass?
So I knew there was something
This was my
I wanted to
question
touch on.
myself.
So not so much that, but that's a very good question, and I don't think it's just muscle mass. So what's happening just now at the moment is, if we look at the NHS stats and the research on it, is that people who are taking these skinny jabs are actually putting stress on the NHS, because so many people are having to go in, whether they've just passed out and there's nothing too serious going on, getting gallbladders removed, the fatigue, the nausea, the passing out, the vomiting, like, they're putting so much strain on the NHS. So after the pandemic, when it was all that strain and it's still trying to recover, we now have this skinny jab stuff putting more strain on the NHS. So if it's used properly, I mean, obesity is rising rapidly. It's up 8% from last year, I think, when I was researching it. But if used correctly for the right people, like I said earlier, those people who can't move, and if it's used to get people to start moving again, then I do believe it could combat obesity. But does the big, I'm trying to watch what I'm saying so I don't get locked in, but the big pharmaceutical companies, do they want obesity to go? That's how they make money.
I know. It's like everything though, isn't it? They make money off of these big trends, big
But I think the thing...
Then they can develop something for the muscle, the awesome muscle.
Something
to counteract
that in this day and age, how they not got eating for everything, do you know what I mean? The thing is as well, it's like, there's so many coaches in this industry against this, right? And I'm like, there's no point in being against it. I don't feel like it's a threat to me. I am happy to support people taking it if it's done right.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to know the facts. I want you to do your own research. Don't just take this as gospel. Go and do your own research. Go and learn things, and then speak about it. And just don't keep it a secret.
Yeah, people are going to do what they want to do, and
I love nothing more than helping people change their behaviours, right? So that doesn't change for me. That's what I would still be doing.
Yeah.
Helping people change their behaviours and live a better life.
Yeah.
While they achieve results.
Yeah.
But I also know that I can get people results without them taking that.
Yeah.
It just takes a bit longer. And do you know what? It's probably harder, right? This is the thing, it's easy. If they take that, it's easy. It's whether or not people have got the grit and the determination and the willpower to do the hard.
Like me, I like to know I've worked for something. Like I just, in life and everything, I like to know I've worked and I've got that. It's like, if you do a DIY project or something, you get it and you're like, oh, I know that's completely different, but, and you manage to do it and you're like, oh, I've done that myself. It's the same for me coming to the gym. I've done that.
I know. You're like 4 stone down and totally maintained it. And do you know another thing that happened to me, and it was just a coincidence that I was recording this today. I've had them quite a few times, but I got a text message from my local pharmacy, just basically saying, do you know that we now offer a weight loss solution, blah blah blah, book an appointment to come in. It's on my phone, I'm recording my phone. I actually screenshot it because I was like, it's just too easy, it's too readily available.
Yeah, things are easy.
So guys, if you feel like you want a non-judgmental community and a safe space to open up about this, please reach out to us. You can contact me at the Lifestyle Coach on any platform. You can reach out to Julie. What's your Instagram again? Julie_warrior chick.
Yeah.
So you can reach out to any of us and we'll be happy to speak to you and hold safe space for you. See if you want to take this but you don't want a coach and you don't want anybody that's close to you to know, like your family, your partner or whatever. I do believe that somebody needs to know, so even tell us so that we know you're taking it, and then we can keep tabs on you to make sure that you're alright, and if anything was to happen we can let people know they need to know at that time. Anything you want to add, Julie?
No, that's all. Just go and read into it. Make sure you know all about it before you start taking it. This is Mummy Julie talking. Make sure you know what you're doing.
And I know I was roasting on here. In the last episode, I did say that I was going to be taking a break from recording podcasts for hours. So it's going to be about a 4 to a 6 week break on recording podcasts due to me taking holidays and then running the retreat in Lanzarote and other things. And we have some exciting stuff coming, but I'm going to be starting back the podcast with an episode on strength training because it's key to muscle mass and I think it needs to be spoke about more. People are scared of it. Yeah.
People need to talk about the stuff that doesn't get, this is going to, the taboo topics. People need to get them out there. Women need to talk more.
Yes, we do. So thanks for coming on, Julie.
Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for listening, and thanks to Lexi for
liking me
and interrupting it sometimes. Thanks, guys.